Hello everyone, it's Greg from Edinburgh Renaissance Fencing Academy here again for another online tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing another solo combat sequence based on Grassi's principles, as always, for the Rapier. Before we get into that though, I'm going to talk very briefly about carrying or wearing the Rapier because our sequence today starts from drawing the sword. Now, unlike earlier periods of history, the rapier wasn't actually worn at the waist, tucked through a belt. It was actually suspended from the belt by a series of straps. So it actually hung outside the thigh and could actually be quite comfortably worn on a day-to-day basis, either in civilian life or as an extra sidearm for a soldier who was carrying a gun or a pike or something like this. The arrangement of straps basically carried the rapier about there. And it's possible to draw it quite comfortably from that position, despite the fact that the blade is relatively long. This drawing of the sword is achieved, as with all the other mechanics in 16th century Italian fencing, with a rotation and expansion of the chest or torso, so this kind of motion. So it works like this: standing from a casual stance, upright as always, lead with the forefinger, take your grip over the cross guard, and then securing the sheath and the hanger mechanism with your offhand, you take a little step forward and expand the chest and rotate the torso, drawing back with the offhand, like so, and then you let go of the hanger or the scabbard and bring the offhand across the chest. And we end up in high ward, okay, which is actually the first guard position which you end up in when drawing the sword, according to Grassi's book and also according to many other fencing masters. So that motion is in its entirety, goes like this, from a casual position. Okay, so this motion of the blade, drawing it from the scabbard, could be done with a little bit more vigor and power to act as a kind of deflecting beat to defend an incoming attack. Or if your opponent was really close, it could in theory even be a sort of draw cut aimed across the face of an incoming target. However, its main purpose, ideally, is to put you in high ward, where the point of the sword is threatening your opponent, preventing him from coming closer, and affording you the ability to launch a descending thrust, an imbroccata. Something like this, with appropriate footwork and body mechanics to back it up. So our sequence is going to be, is going to begin from that: a drawing of the sword to high ward, and then an imbroccata. But it's worth going over and practicing the sword draw a few times by yourself until you get comfortable with it, and then go into the sequence. Without further ado, the sequence goes like this. I'll go through it once or twice without any explanation, and then I'll break it down. Okay, so the steps of the sequence are: ready position, draw the sword to high ward, an imbroccata with an advancing step aimed at the chest of the opponent, and then, assuming the opponent defends it, we immediately drop towards a low ward position, effecting a parry as we go to the inside line, supported by a circular step. This then puts us in a ready position to deliver a stoccata at the chest with an advancing step. Assuming the opponent defends this, we're then going to drop our tip and raise the hilt to do a low hanging parry to the outside as we recover. like so. And then we're going to slightly raise the point to aim at our opponent's lead leg and deliver a sort of descending punta dirita, which is a thrust delivered with the left hand leg rather than the lead leg, like so. And then from here, we withdraw the sword back towards the hip, and take a second step to end in low ward. And then, if you want to go back to the initial position, we just put the sword back in the scabbard and take a casual step back, and we're ready to go again. Like with the earlier sequence I showed, all of these sword movements should be accompanied by one of the feet stepping, because the foot is the strength and support of the hand, and also either with an expansion or a contraction of the chest and a little rotation of the shoulders to ensure that the whole body is involved in the sequence. So I will show you that once more, just highlighting the body mechanics. So from our ready position, we expand the chest and rotate the torso to our outside line. In the up and high ward, we then push forward with the lead shoulder to deliver the imbrocata, rotating the torso and expanding the chest forwards. And then from this expanded position, we contract the chest and rotate the torso towards our back to effect the parry, expand again to do the stoccata, contract backwards to effect the hanging parry, and then aim the point and expand the chest with a slope step with the left foot or the rear foot to deliver the punta dirita, the direct thrust towards the lead leg. We contract back towards the hip and then pull the rear foot back behind the front foot to end in a low ward position. And then, assuming that's the end of your opponent and the end of the sequence, scabbard the sword again, and we're back in the ready position, and you can repeat the sequence. So one more time without any talking from me. And there we go. So that's the sequence for today. A few new principles to practice. Sword draw, something quite interesting I think, and the imbrocata thrust, an important tool in the repertoire of the Renaissance fencer. So that's it for this week. Have fun practicing the sequence, and I will see you next time.